Ryan Coleman of Omni Fitness. How's it going, brother?
What's going on, boss
man? It's great to have you. Let me join you in this party up here.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me make sure we're getting a good read. Sounds like it. So what's up, man? Thanks for coming today.
Yeah, appreciate you for having me, man. I know it's been a long journey since we've even connected. I think it's been all the way back since like 2016, something like that.
No. I was just I just visited you guys last year.
No, like since we
sat
first
down.
connected.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a great place to start, dude. You've come a long way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You lost a lot of weight, right?
Yep.
You started training. You started a gym. You got a bigger gym.
Yep.
You got an awesome community.
Yes, sir.
What's up, man? Tell us the story.
Man, so it really all stemmed from like my personal journey. Like you mentioned, and I had always been an athlete. I had always been around sports. And I just got to a point in my life where I was kind of losing myself. And that's where I found myself gaining weight. I had one day I looked myself in the mirror and it's just like, hey, this isn't who you are. But during that time, I was kind of lacking purpose. And that's what led to me joining the Army National Guard, which essentially got me back into, fitness in general. And man, once I started taking the time to actually pour into myself physically and seeing the benefits that it was having for me mentally, and then the people that were being impacted along the way, even when I was just building up, doing my own thing, people were always inspired. And with me having that vision all the way back in 2013 that I wanted a gym, I never thought that it would expand into a wellness brand.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like ultimately, once I got in the industry, I realized like physical fitness is a good foundation, but it's barely scratching the surface in entirety.
Yeah. So what all are you guys doing? So you do training, I see recovery. Are you doing nutrition? Are you doing the whole thing, the whole gamut?
Yeah. So we do the whole thing pretty much in terms of just overall wellness, mind, body, and spirit. But essentially, at Omni Fitness specifically, we do personal training. Well, what I call semi-individual training. So it's very similar to personal training. We just
do groups.
Yeah, small groups, but everybody's doing their own programming. So it's not like everybody's, doing the same thing and stuff like that.
They're not paying more for class, right?
Right. Yeah. And then we have a partnership with HealthSpot. So, we pretty much will have them all go in there, get in-body assessments, a supplement consultation. And then from there, we break down and give them like extensive macro-based nutritional guidance. In addition to that, we have like several resources such as like workout guides. We do wellness coaching or like mental health coaching because the majority of our clients who come in, we realize that their problems are way bigger than just fitness. They're facing issues with accountability, insecurity, a lot of things that has to do with more than just the gym. So we want to, even in terms of recovery, like we want to be the one-stop shop. So even if we didn't have the answer, we have someone that's in our network that we can send you to. And with having the partnership with the recovery room, they actually like supply us with like some Normatex.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We have quarterly events there where we can have like our community go in there for free, experience all their services. And then now we're getting into stretch therapy as well. So I have a stretch therapist as a part of the team, in addition to a collaboration with Wildflower PT. And they'll come and have Dr. Dan from there come in and work once a month with our clients.
So you're truly like all over the map as far as health and wellness goes. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I didn't realize you had, the PT. I saw that you had a stretch therapist come in. Mm-hmm. I saw that on your page. But I didn't know that was like a regular thing. I thought it might be just like a random thing. But I also see you guys, a lot of times I'll see you post content where people are sitting around and like Darren Gibson like gave a talk or something, like things like that, like more community events and mindset events. Is that a common thing too?
Yep. So those are our community-based discussion panels.
Shout out Darren.
Yeah,
Darren's
shout
awesome.
out to Darren, man.
I had him on my my podcast like right before my son was born. And then my son was born and we had all the stuff. Never posted it, but I've listened to it like 3 times on my own. It's great stuff. We'll probably have to post it someday, but
Nick
or just get a new one.
Nick grew up with all of them.
Okay.
On the west side, so we're pretty close to him.
Yeah, they're great. But yeah, continue. I cut you off.
But yeah, so we do that. That's like our community-based discussion panels, and we pretty much cover like each and every pillar of wellness that we have within Omni, and we'll bring in a like a panel member that kind of represent, well, panel members, should I say, that represent like that specific pillar. And essentially what that is, I'll moderate that conversation, kind of base it on that pillar, and then we open it up to the live audience, or the audience is on Instagram Live, and we do that more to like educate. And then we have other events like the Omni experience, where it's like one of those one-off events where it allows the community to be able to experience Omni in entirety, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social. So we'll bring in a guest speaker, we'll have a yoga instructor come in. We'll do some sound bowl therapy, the whole nine, and really just kind of giving people experience with different modalities within wellness.
That's good. So I imagine that because you've gone on your own journey, as far as like you gained weight, you lost weight, I imagine it gives you a little bit more, I don't know if empathy is the right word, but people probably trust you because you've been through what they're about to go through. Yeah. How's that play into people coming to you to fix their problems?
Man, that's everything. And, my business coach is huge on, leveraging our personal stories in order to be able to impact others, just for the sole fact that, when you're constantly being authentic and putting your story out there, there's always going to be things about that people can latch onto and they can resonate with, and they can see themselves in.
Yeah.
And that ultimately is what attracts them. And, that's one thing that I noticed, even the clientele that I do attract, it's people that were once where I was, so they're literally looking for exactly what I was looking for, but also they're looking to be leaders in the community as well. And I think that that's been a dope thing, just kind of being able to work hand in hand with other entrepreneurs, successful individuals. It's just an overall high vibration in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I've visited you guys a couple times, and yeah, you get the feeling whenever you walk in the door, you guys got a good community.
Yeah.
You touched on something that I find pretty important. I learned, I think it was from Sean Whalen a while back. He has a saying, your mess is your message, right? So what you have messed up and fixed, that's your message right there. That's what you can teach people.
Right.
So that's perfectly like right in line with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's good to see. But,
yeah.
We were just talking right before, and I kind of cut you off because I wanted to save it for while we're on the pod. We were talking about the Whoop Band.
Yep.
How's that?
Man, life changing.
Yeah, same.
Literally life changing. I got it back in 2020, back when COVID was at a high, and man, I thought I was doing my thing. I thought I was just this fitness beast. Like you couldn't tell me anything. Until I started, wearing the strap, and I was waking up constantly in the red. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, like there's pretty much 3 different categories. So you got imagine it like your phone battery. So
and this is for recovery.
Yeah, for recovery specifically. You got like 1 to 33%, that'd be considered the red. And then 33 to like 66, yellow, 66 and up, you're in the green. And I tell people all the time, it's like a phone battery. So, if you wake up at 33%, that you ain't gonna be able to sustain through the day. But even from the aspect of being able to see what your strain is and be able to balance like the strain with the recovery, like it's been completely life changing, because I used to work out every single day.
No matter what.
What.
Exactly. It's helped me manage like my load for the day.
Yeah.
Like I still overdo it way too often.
Right.
But I know that whenever I wake up in the red, which is way too often, blame that on my kids, but way too often. And I know that, okay, like maybe I shouldn't go heavy on the weights today, because that's whenever I've injured myself, is whenever I'm in the red, I'm not recovered, I'm not hydrated.
Yep.
And what do you know? I have a little injury.
Yeah.
And it's just, it seems to happen like that. And it's remarkable how advanced the tracking is, and how closely it resembles how I feel. Like my wife, once in a while, like I'll wake up, oh shit, I'm in the red, and she'd be like, you just let that thing run your life. I'm like, no, it actually just takes what my body's like telling it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
what's crazy about the red too? Like it got me to really stop drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
And like I'll drink wine from time to time, but like heavy, like alcohol, tequila, vodka, like I was seeing how my body would be so impacted, and I'm telling you, I could just have one drink or a shot, and literally the next day I would wake up at extremely low recovery or in the red.
It crushes that heart rate variability.
Yeah.
That, and if I got a gnarly sweet tooth. If I eat some sweets at night before I go to bed,
it's a wrap.
Yeah. Yep. Every time.
Yeah.
How often are you waking up in the green?
Man, so I think over 50% of my wake ups last year was in the green.
Wow.
Yeah, which was
good for you.
Which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was growth from the year before. I had very few red days with it. I mean, I think on average I'll have 1 to 2 red days a month, if that. But man, I'll be out of it. I'll be trying my best not to do that. And then also a new feature they have is the stress monitor.
Yeah.
And I've been paying attention to that thing, man, because even things like, just being completely transparent, I smoke marijuana, right? So seeing the impact of smoking marijuana, how that can impact your stress, it actually will make me anxious at times, So that's kind of shifted me even to kind of focusing on more doing something like that, more in the evening. If I do it in the middle of the day where I have a bunch of stuff going on, I'm just gonna be
your stress
drowning in anxiety, man. So it really is forcing me to take those negative habits and reshape them.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. So one thing I did was I switched from hitting a pen, or I would smoke a joint every once in a while. I love a joint. Who doesn't, right?
Yep.
But I switched to eating edibles, and the effect on the heart rate variability is a lot lower. So it impacts my recovery a lot less, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was a transition or a switch that I made that helped. You talked about the alcohol. Yeah, it's a huge one. Huge.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I've noticed. So I track. Do you use your journal at all in there?
Yep. So I use the journal. So I'll track, let's say I go to the recovery room and do cryotherapy or something like that. And they'll give me the statistics. And it's when you get cryotherapy, your recovery is, 14% higher on average. So things like that, meditation, sexual activity, which is crazy. You wouldn't think that would impact your recovery so much, but it most definitely will.
Oh yeah, it does. I mean, it releases all sorts of hormones. One big one for me, or two big ones actually, for my sleep. Started tracking my magnesium intake. Ooh. So I take magnesium glycinate every night. I'm probably going to switch to magnesium 3-8, but that's another conversation. But I take magnesium every night, and it's a massive difference in my recovery. And then as far as tracking my sleep stages, I started taking glycine before bed. I forget what the milligram dosage is, but the amount of REM sleep that I get since I started taking the glycine, my REM sleep is almost doubled in the same amount of sleep. So I'm getting less light sleep and almost double the REM sleep. So I definitely suggest trying out some glycine.
And you're taking it specifically at nighttime?
For sleep, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And just to go into my nighttime stack, I do. So I'll probably have an edible, right? Almost every night.
Yeah. Muscle relaxing.
Yeah. And just hanging out, having fun.
Yeah.
And then, if I do that, then I probably won't have CBD. But if I don't, then I'll have CBD. I'll take my magnesium. I take Alpha Evolve from Omni's company, Self Evolve.
Okay, it's
the male hormone support.
Yep.
Okay. So it's got Tonkat Ali, which is a huge thing for boosting testosterone. I take that, and I take the algae oil from Self Evolve.
Okay.
I take 2 magnesium. I take 2 glycine, and I think that's it.
That's an amazing stat, but it makes sense because your sleep is where you get the majority of your recovery. So when you're feeling your body with that, it's only naturally gonna help it to improve.
Yeah, I don't get enough volume sleep, so my approach is I have to make the most of the sleep that I am getting, and so quality. Exactly. Yeah. So I'll have some nights where more than half of my sleep is in the slow wave sleep, which is more physical recovery, and then the REM sleep, which is more mental recovery, neuronal recovery, I think.
Yeah.
And so I'll spend half my night in that, and it's great. I'll get 5 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep, but I'm feeling great because I got the really good sleep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Honestly, and I would say something else that I do outside of like, I really need to get more on the supplements. 'Cause I do take like magnesium, and I'll drink like some herbal tea, chamomile stuff like that, lavender before I go to bed. But I go to sleep and I almost every single night I'm listening to some type of frequencies, whether it's binaural beats, solfeggio frequencies, and even just logging that in my journal in the book. It definitely has had a major impact on my REM sleep, and just like like I think, man, the other day I ended up getting like freaking. We're not REM sleep, but restorative sleep. It was like 5 hours of restorative sleep, which was
that's amazing.
Anybody who knows that, it's insane. And I was just, because I usually it's like, hour and a half, 2 hours. So to see that double, but it was like, the specific frequency that I had on, it was meant for like helping with healing, recovery, and whatever it's doing with those brain waves is definitely impacting.
Yeah, I use those. I started using those in college, and I think it was still woo woo then.
Yeah,
there's not a ton of science behind the binaural beats, but there's enough where it's like it's obviously not going to harm you.
Right.
So the upside is there, the downside isn't. So it's a good bet.
Yeah.
Right? Do you sleep with your headphones in?
I have for some of the specific audios that I listen to because it's like left ear, right
the binaural.
Yep. Yeah, but man, they just kind of like pop out on me. So for the most part, I'll just kind of put it on the speaker.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, the binaural beats, the bi is two different frequencies. So the two different sound waves, and you have one sound wave coming out of your right ear, one or coming into your right ear, one coming to your left, and so theoretically, they kind of tune your brain to the frequency that it needs to be for whatever. Like I use an attention increase one, I use a creativity increase one, I use a relaxing one. I've got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But I found that they help immensely, especially the attention increase.
Yeah.
That's super helpful for me.
Like even if I'm working like at the library or something like that, I turn on one of the focus ones and just locked in.
Yes. Yeah, I can get caught up into listening to music, and the next thing I know, I'm like typing out words that are on the music.
Right.
So I've done that a few times, but I mean, it's the best way to go. I've gotten into a really bad habit of listening to audiobooks whenever I go to sleep. I don't know why.
I mean, it could be good for the subconscious.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but I'm listening to like history books. Like I'm obsessed with history.
Like what ancient history?
All of it, but ancient. Like I have a rule: I can't listen to ancient history until after 10 p.m. because like I just get so. It's like one of my like whenever my career is over, I'm probably just gonna go into like making history documentaries. I'm just that upset. Like it's like a huge passion of mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I listen to that. But whenever I listen to like soothing music or binaural beats, it's definitely a better way to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And you can do more visualization rather than listening to whatever's going on in the world 8,000 years ago.
Right.
That kind of stuff. But we don't want to go down that. That's a rabbit hole that I'll never come out of. So we won't go there.
Have you ever tried aromatherapy as well? Like even like essential
with oils? Yeah. So I do use some oils. I forgot that in my stack at night. I use what's called black seed oil. Okay. I take like 2 mils of that.
Yeah.
Tastes like shit, but it helps.
Yeah.
And then one of my supplements I forgot was 5-HTP, and that's for serotonin. It's supposed to be serotonin boosting. So it's not dopamine.
Increases like the natural production.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how. Like I've read it, but I couldn't sit here and tell you that I know what I'm talking about. So I'll stay away from that one. Yeah. So I mean, I take more supplements before I go to bed than when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's a huge difference.
And it makes sense, and that's it. That's why, like when you first said that, it got because like for me, my main dose is in the morning. Like I take my On It, the brain fuel. That's probably like one of my most favorite ones that I've been taking. Because I kind of been experimenting that with like different like mushroom blends, like lion's mane and stuff like that, just for the cognitive function. Obviously magnesium. A multi in there. I just recently started doing chlorophyll. It's been amazing. For like my gut health, and then just kind of like a natural energy boost in the morning. And then what is apple cider vinegar? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 See, I did that, but somebody, I was told that you're not supposed to take it straight,
Yeah.
right? But I did, and like fucked up one of my teeth, so I haven't gotten back on that train. But
yeah, I take the little capsules.
okay, see,
Yeah.
that's smart. I got the glass with the mother, I think it's called, in there.
Yep.
Yeah, so I take or would take that, but I have since stopped. I probably should get back on it though.
Yeah, it's been pretty
Yeah.
smooth.
I've heard from one of my supplement nerdy biology friends that sea moss is one that I'm really missing out on.
Yeah, that's actually one that I take. I'll be on it for probably like 2 months at a time, and then I'll drop it for a month just because like I like to get it. I have a friend who will sell it to me raw.
Oh wow.
And I'll actually, she broke down the process of me being able to make the gel myself. So even from a cost standpoint, I pay for it like $15 for raw, and I can create about 2 30-ounce jars that'll last me. So, but man, I would say the main benefits that I really got with that is just kind of, how we'll have like mucus build up in us, man. It really takes time to flush that out.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's the mucus that, causes a lot of disease. And a lot of people don't know that. So it's like if you rid your body of the mucus, you're you're lowering your chances. You're still be susceptible, but you're lowering your chances of being able to get that disease. So for immunity purposes, but even, just like how it's on here, the anti-inflammatory properties that it has on it, even in terms of like recovery, like just general recovery.
Yeah. Let's see. So, I had to look this up because I don't know anything about this sea moss, but anti-inflammatory properties can speed up wound and cut healing and treat respiratory conditions like bronchitis and asthma. I might have to get that for my son.
Yeah, it's good.
Rich in minerals that have been shown to reduce inflammation throughout the body. Also boost thyroid function, which I think is super underestimated or not followed. I think people hear with thyroid problems, they think, oh, it's for older women that have gained weight. Yeah. But it's like one of the most important functions as far as like growth hormone for your body.
Right.
So let's see. Boost thyroid function, which can help with weight loss and regulating metabolism. I also talked to my man at Flexwork yesterday, one of the guys that works there. I won't say his name just in case he doesn't want people to know, but he was talking about how his thyroid is like overactive. And so he's had so many problems putting on weight. And so that's, interesting to me that there's so many moving pieces. I've been obsessed with Andrew Huberman's show.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I've been diving in.
Dude,
yeah. But that's been one of the things I've been on. You get into red light therapy at all?
Yeah, that's actually one of the recovery modalities they have at Recovery Room, because it's not a sauna. They just have the strict red
lights.
Yeah, man, it feels amazing. Like I'll go in there, I'll be feeling fatigued, tired. My favorite duo is to do the cryo and then go straight and do the red light too, man, and it feels amazing.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with red light. I've been doing it every day for probably 3 or 4 months. I bought a red light board.
Yeah.
And we have it on our website now because like I'm that obsessed with it. I use it every single day, every morning when I wake up, put it right on my genitals. This is good for boosting testosterone.
Yeah. It's skin.
And when I have an injury, so I got this, you can't really see it on the camera, but I got this cut playing basketball like 3 weeks ago, and it healed so fast.
Really?
And I definitely should have gotten stitches.
How long do you use it on a daily basis, you say?
I probably do 2 different sessions of 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I like hold it out. The length that I hold it away from my body is different depending on what I'm using it for. So it's got red light, and then it's got near infrared.
Okay.
And so there's kind of go 2 different lengths into the body.
Okay.
So they're used for different things. But yeah, I use that like all the time, but it's been like one of those things, like if I get a bad night of recovery, I just throw the red light on, charge up.
Yeah.
Made a huge difference to me. I've had to find all these hacks, like because my sleep has been so wrecked the last few years.
Yeah.
And so like I'm constantly trying to learn how can I like make my body work a little bit better.
Yeah. Even getting the lack of sleep. Have you tried the cryotherapy?
Oh yeah. Love it.
What's your take on that?
I think it's immensely beneficial if you do it frequently. Obviously, I'm sure there's benefits for short-term use as well, but Like I would use it if I had an injury or something. I would go in there. It's just there's nowhere like super close for me. It's just not convenient enough for me to do it. Like I'd rather just go get a bag of ice and hop in my bathtub.
Yeah, and that's my biggest thing because it's like I have to go all the way to Carmel from the gym. Usually is where I'm at, and man, I would do it every single day because especially after running.
See, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's it's like I'll get in a state of meditation in there. They let you turn on the music and stuff like that. I'm just vibing out, but I can literally go in there, be stiff, sore, immediately hop out. It's like a completely different feeling.
Are you hitting the Normatec after?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll go I'm telling you on a recovery day, I'll go to the recovery room, be up there for 2-3 hours, man. Take the laptop up there. Shoot, it's a blast.
Shout out to Connie.
Yeah.
Doing it. Yeah. They've come a long way. When they started out, they were Abbey Wellness, I'm sure you remember.
Yep.
And that was they started like real close to around the time when Indie Fitness Max started. Yeah. And so we had a nice little partnership, and they really helped us get going by saying, hey, like just let your people come use our cryotherapy. And we just kind of grew our audiences together. They were killing it. I mean, they still are, obviously.
Yeah.
And then Fisher's Cryo is real close over here. And Lori's wonderful too.
Yeah, it's right off 116th by the Target, right?
Yep. So it's right across the street from the LA Fitness that I go to, which is convenient.
Yeah.
But I haven't been in there for a while. I stopped in to see her like a week or two ago, but didn't get to do any cryo.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing while we're on the topic of recovery. Is just like so many people like spend so much time doing the actual work, grinding it out. But like I feel like recovery is the most underrated thing there is. And it's like without proper recovery, you can't even build, and you're just leaving yourself susceptible for all kinds of injuries, aches. Like me personally, like I'm not the type of person that wants to work out and be in pain. Sometimes, it's inevitable. So it's just going to be part of the process. But, knee aches, back aches, I think so many people in society normalize that, and so for us, even at Omni, that's one thing that we try to preach to the community is like, you have to be able to take care of your body, especially in the sense of preventative care. Because if you don't take care of it in the sense of preventative care, then later down the road, you got to pay for it in medical bills, so.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not even something I thought about until like I turned about 30. Because, I like try and keep up with my like testosterone levels and get them tested. And my guy that I go to at Men's Health Solutions, he just looked me dead in the face. He's like, you got to quit the 2-a-days. Because I'm working out every day. I'm going on like a 45-minute walk every day. There's exercise in between. I'm biking to the gym to work out or play basketball. Just doing too much.
Yeah.
Right. And he just looked at me dead in the face. He's like, you got to quit doing all that. You got to recover. If you're not going to sleep, you got to do less.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, because that's exactly how I was. Like I'll go run and lift, or I'll go run and hoop, and man, it was just breaking me down, to the point that I was starting to lose fluid in my knees, and my dad had to get complete knee replacement. On one of his knees, he's about to get it done to the other, and I'm like, I can't get myself to that.
Have you ever seen a knee replacement surgery?
Man, it scarred him. I don't know. Like he watched a video of it, and he was scared as shit to go in there and get it done after that, man. And I think that was enough for me.
Yeah, that was all I needed to see. So my dad used to be doing those, and I would, whenever I was a little kid, I grew up in the country, and probably the rules for the hospital were a little bit looser than they would have been around here. But I got to see quite a few of those and hip replacements and stuff, and they're literally just pounding away with a hammer. Like cutting into your bones, putting a stake into your like your femur to connect the piece that replaces your knee. It is just some wild stuff.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I would never want one.
Yeah, that's why I try to do everything holistically. Even one other thing that I didn't mention was the chiropractor. The importance of that, just from removing structural interference. Because I didn't even realize until like recently the impact that having a spine out of order or out of balance, can impact our internal organs, because the nerves that run from our spines are all connected to our internal organs. And when you think about men specifically, one of the number one issues that chronic diseases you'll find is colon cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's typically linked to the lower back, lower back pain, which is one of their vertebrates in the lower back that is linked to that colon that ultimately causes that.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Where do you go for your chiropractor?
And so I have two that I always kind of recommend within our network. First and foremost, Dr. Jordan Burns.
My man.
That was like the first dude I ever, got adjusted with and stuff like that.
The most famous chiropractor in Indy.
Yeah, man. He's the truth, man. I love what he's doing on Instagram, educational. He got the books going. Like, he's a super dope dude. And then my second one would be Dr. Matt Horn with Premier Family Chiropractic. And, they both have two distinctly different styles. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it's cool, because, with Jordan, it's more or less like you can kind of go in there, you can kind of get your pop-in visits, you can come as you please, and then with Matt, he's more or less like, okay, when you come in here, we're going to get you specifically on a plan. Like with them, I had to go, I was going 3 days a week, then eventually dropped to 2 days a week, and then eventually 1 day a week. But man, from playing like collision sports, like football, rugby, just the military, like I was.
You're a rugby guy.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's tough.
Rugby's funnier than football.
No, I believe it. It's just like, you gotta be tough to play rugby.
But you would honestly be surprised. Like you would be more prone to get injured in football compared to rugby. Because
of
there's so
equipment.
many, there's so many safety procedures when it comes to like. Don't get me wrong. Like I've stepped on a dude's face with some cleats, So
was it on purpose? Or?
No, it wasn't. On, you got that adrenaline running. He on the ground. Yeah. I'm like, hey,
in the way. Yeah. One of my best friends out of U is on the rugby team, and he would come with a new scrape, a new bruise every single day. I'm just like, man, tougher than me.
Yeah,
tougher than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fine. I just talked to Jordan this morning. He had a son a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So happy for him.
Yeah.
He's loving the writing. We talk about that a lot. He's working on books constantly. He's writing every day.
Yeah.
And I think he can probably reach more people that way rather than just doing chiropractic work in his office. So,
right.
Yeah, and he's passionate about it. You can tell he just lights up.
Yeah. He reminds me of I think it's Dr. Brett Jones. That's another chiropractor. He's out in Arizona. But he's like pretty well known nationwide dude, and I just see their style and it's very like similar, especially with like how they educate. And I think that education is so important, and honestly, it's one of the best ways to scale your business as well.
Right.
But it's also one of the best ways to be able to build the community. Mm-hmm. Because so many people are just struggling just to the fact that they just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So for him to be able to take what he's been able to learn from both his education and his personal experience and leverage that in the educational sense, like that's what I'm all about as well.
So whenever you were doing the chiropractic 3 times a week, did that make a difference compared to like 1 time a week?
Yeah, man. So when I first started with the 3 days a week, like my body went through like a crazy transition.
Oh yeah,
man. I was like, it was impacting my gut health. My body was just feeling like all beat up. It was like I couldn't work out like I usually did. Like I had to go through like this 2-week adjustment period just because that was a lot on my body. My body was trying to adjust because there was a lot going on. So definitely from the standpoint of being able to see the results faster, being able to go, to 3 times compared to 1 was definitely a lot beneficial. And what I liked is how they tracked it on the X-ray, and I'll literally be able to see the results within the spinal cords. And within the first 21 days, just it was literally life-changing results.
Yeah,
So
I think people are probably sitting, okay, I can't afford to go to a chiropractor, right? 1, I think you'd be surprised how affordable it really is.
Yes.
2, I wonder what you would tell people that say that, and it is actually the case that they can't afford to go to a chiropractor. What kind of advice would you give to somebody to make sure they're keeping their spine aligned? What do I need to do to stay healthy for longer?
Yeah, definitely there's things that you can do, like different types of corrective exercise, especially like functional fitness is based on like the primal movements and stuff like that. But like ultimately, if you have some type of structural interference, the best and the fastest way to be able to get on that is at least going and getting yourself adjusted like one time. And that's why I would recommend somebody like Jordan in that case, because he would be more affordable because, not only do they take insurance, but I think it's only like $40 for one pop-in session, opposed to going to, Matt, where it is also it's a little bit more costly just because, I was paying probably like $270 a month, being on a plan that was like 27 to $3,000. So that if somebody is needing to get more affordability, I would say go into one of those chiropractors that you can just get a quick adjustment, and then kind of more, you got to really take time to buckle down on that corrective exercise and doing the work at home. But that's typically the problem with people run into is like they'll get adjustments and stuff like that, but they don't do the work outside of there to kind of really make that alignment stick.
So switch it up a little bit. How much weight did you lose?
Man, so at my heaviest point, I was 250 pounds.
Okay.
When I got when I was 250 pounds, about 250 pounds when I went into the military, and then when I got out, I was like 195. But wow. I lost so much weight then that it was like I was looking sick.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like,
I was just gonna say, a lot of people that I know that have lost a lot of weight, they do it and they get so like obsessed is probably the right word. They get so obsessed with it that they end up going too far, and then they find an equilibrium where they're healthy and feeling and looking good.
Yep. And right? that's what exactly it was for me, man. And because it was like I went through that, I lost a ton of weight, then I started gaining back that lean muscle mass, and then really kind of shaping up, and then I gained weight again. And then I took this, it was a product that Omni gave me, the Health Spot. It was like a cutting stack, man. And I'm telling you, I got the most shredded that I ever been in my life. It was crazy. But within that, it was like it was like a rat race, man. I was never happy. I was looking at myself in the mirror and still thinking that I'm like just insecure. Like, man, you're fat. Like you got more to do. And so going through that phase and kind of getting out of that, toxic masculinity and stuff like that with that, man, it really opened me up to like a larger spectrum of it. And, when I started really just focusing more on performance more than anything, I'm like, ultimately, I can be cut, I can be toned up, I can look like I'm about to go do a bodybuilding show, but like at the end of the day, that's not gonna make my work. Right. I'd rather be functional more than anything, and just overall healthy.
Yeah, anytime I've been like super obsessed with like those last like 0.5% of body fat, and it's just like you start not living your life, right? And that's not healthy either.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's that, mentally, whenever you were the 250 pounds, like what was that? How hard was that on your psyche?
Man, it was super hard because I didn't really have like self-worth. My confidence was terrible, man. I was always like, I would be eating foods that would be making me tired. I didn't have no energy. Like,
and those are the foods that taste the best when you're tired.
Taste the best, man. Yeah. Like, I'll tell you, like, there, what back in, like, I'd be working at Dick's Sporting Goods, man, and freaking running over to McDonald's, getting some double cheeseburgers. And it's like, when you eat, it's supposed to fuel you. It's supposed to energize you, man. And I would just be feeling terrible, like, all the time, man. And I that's what really caused me to make that shift, because I was feeling depression and, an all-time low, and it just wasn't the life I was trying to live.
Did you have like a rock bottom moment where you're like, this is it, I gotta fix this?
Yep.
What was that 100%. Like? If you care to share.
So it's always following like a breakup or something. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like, man, I was already feeling all of the insecurities, lack of self-worth, and then I had to go through a breakup, and that was really what got me to hit that all-time low, where it was like, man, I found myself just like drinking. Like I stopped going to the gym. I was shutting myself in, just locking myself in rooms, man. And that's again going back to where I said I had that moment where I looked in the mirror. That's kind of when I started diving into books like David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me, and reading more about people's stories like him, because he was a really big dude for a lot of people who don't know.
From Indy.
Yeah, from Indy.
Yeah, which
went
is
to
cool.
North Central High School.
Yeah.
But man, that the mindset, and even like guys like CT Fletcher, like it started off.
CT Fletcher,
man, he be talking crazy, man.
One
like,
more.
I
love it.
Yeah, but man, that type of mindset, it was very extreme at first when it started off. Like, man,
sometimes you need that.
Yeah, it was an addiction. Like,
Yeah.
I literally was addicted to it. And then within that, I don't really like to toss out the word balance, because you never really have complete balance in any area of life. But like, I got to a point where, I started to kind of even things out, after that. So.
Yeah. It's like, I think that a lot of people, whenever you get to whatever low point that is, whether it be with your weight, with drugs, with alcohol, whatever, it usually, like, anytime I've seen it, it usually takes something a little bit extreme to break out of that habit. Right. And then you can worry about your balance later. But a lot of times the best thing that I've seen happen is people get obsessed in the other direction, even if it's an unhealthy obsession. Like, everyone's got addictions. Just what are you addicted to? Right. I'd say it's much better to be addicted to getting healthy and improving your life than it is to continue down that easy path of like whatever's comfortable.
Yeah. And you got to constantly get in, if there's one piece of advice I leave, like, it's like, man, you always have to be in a state where you're disturbing your comfort, and I'm an individual who has like literally allowed complacency to nearly kill me, man, at times. And it just isn't a fun place to be in, but that comfort zone, it's a comfort zone for a reason, and there's a lot of things in there that, bring you distractions. There's a lot of things in there that just cause you to just, be stagnant in life. And it's just, you're never going to grow until you constantly disturb that comfort zone, and just get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. So forgive the leading question, but whenever you were at this rock bottom place, did the change start physically or did it start mentally?
That's actually a good question. That's because I feel like, back then I used to use like a lot more like motivational videos and stuff like that.
We've all had that phase.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what kind of ultimately got me going. So it was like, I was getting that mindset from them, and then I started to apply it, so I would say honestly that mentally, it started mentally, but the physical really just amped up my mental.
Yep. So the mental started it.
Yeah.
The body followed the mind, right?
Yeah.
And then as you continue to progress, the mind started to follow the body.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So that was the leading question, but you see the same pattern for people in business, for people in relationships. It has to start up here.
Right.
And then once you start actually doing the work, your mind starts to follow along with what you're doing, getting, the results that you're getting, the work that you're putting in. Like, you start to feel like you're earning whatever you're working for.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way into confidence. And that just is a snowball. It's a positive snowball instead of that downhill snowball where you find yourself 250 pounds just out of a breakup.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It has to be programming, and that programming all goes down in the subconscious mind, and we become so accustomed to what we know that, I think, people don't necessarily fear the unknown, they fear leaving the known. And that's the issue.
I like that. That's good.
You know what I mean? So I think once you get over that hump, it has to be mental in order for you to get over that hump. Because you could be going to the gym, you could be doing your thing, but there's a lot of people that go there that just kind of go through the motions just because they're not locked in mentally. And that that leads to those New Year resolutioners that are they'll hit the gym hard for a month, and then they're done for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's not a real motivation. Like, I always say, like, New Year's it's great for using the momentum of everybody. Like there's just an energy of everyone starting fresh, right?
Right.
If you can take that energy and put it into something, great, but that's not going to carry you through whenever it's no longer around, because we all know that New Year's resolution energy doesn't last.
Yeah.
Right. So I had like last fall, I was drinking whiskey just too much. You'll never see me drunk, but it would be like an every night, like I'll have a whiskey, right?
Yeah.
And I could start to feel like a difference physically. My eyes and everything was just puffy all the time, inflamed. And I was telling Garrett, who runs Tandem Nutrition, just like talking to him, we were having a good workout. And I was like, man, just, I'm drinking too much. I just need to make a change, need to get back to working on what I care about. Cause I was, been working for money the last few years, cause I got a family. And Indie Fitness Mag kind of just died. Right.
Right.
And so I was telling him I need to get back on my mission. And, I'm not even taking my own advice and getting back towards that and finding the inspiration. I'm just hoping that it comes to me.
Right.
And he asked me, and this is a powerful question that anybody can ask themselves: what does your life look like a year from now if you don't stop X?
If I didn't stop, if I didn't change the lifestyle.
Yeah. What's your life look like a year from now if you don't change when you're at 250 pounds? Are you at 260?
Man, yeah, I mean,
it was a powerful question, and it just like knocked me right back on course.
Yeah. I just started reflecting on that, because I was like, man, like I honestly probably wouldn't be here today.
Right. Yeah.
With everything
Definitely.
that I've been able to build, because like it was a spiral effect. Like it literally led to me being able to go to like the military, where I was able to develop, structure, routine, discipline, all of those things that I needed in order to be able to keep pushing on. But man, like that's, I always ask myself when I see somebody who's like excessively obese, I'm like, how do they get there? But that's how they get there.
Yeah.
They're at that point, they're at that low point, and they just continue to allow it to build and build and build, like compound interest, man. And the bigger that they're getting, the more that it's messing them up mentally, and it just ultimately leads to a point where you get to this dark hole that it's just tough to dig yourself out of.
And the same thing goes on the opposite end of the spectrum. How does somebody get that fit and healthy? How does somebody build a business that big? How do they accomplish this, one step at a time?
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing that any man can do that another man can't, right?
Right.
So it's just the habits. Anybody can fall into the momentum that, the inertia of whatever bad habit you have, and just continue. It's easy to continue a habit.
Right.
Real hard to break out of it.
Yeah.
So I like when you talk about the motivation, like the videos, like probably YouTube videos with the epic music in the background, Eric Thomas telling you to get up and go. Yeah, I mean, Eric Thomas has shaken me out of a few little funks, but that momentum or that energy only goes so far. And if you just find yourself listening to motivational videos and then not doing shit, then you're just a zombie, right?
You got to execute. It's like a lot of people, they like to come up with the plan and stuff like that. And most of the time, like that's the problem. They don't know how to execute and relentlessly execute at that, through any type of adversity. Like I go through so much adversity, like I say, resilience is second nature. But within adversity is, growth. And that's why I've been able to, grow as fast as I am, because it's like I continue to learn. It's just being a true student of the game, and not even considering like really failure to be a thing, because like ultimately, within every experience, it's a lesson to be learned, so I always say I don't take L's, I learn lessons. And ultimately the only time you'll ever fail is if you just completely stop pursuing and quitting everything that you're doing. That to me is what failure is.
Yeah. I get a lot of people, whenever they take the leap into like entrepreneurship, I'm a big, like, everyone can be an entrepreneur guy. Whenever they take that leap and they leave their job to start their business for the first time, I always say it's great if you fail that first time, because then you realize you didn't die.
Right.
And it's not that scary afterward.
Yeah. Yep.
And
it's like taking the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. Yeah. It took me, I left 3 jobs trying to start my own thing, and it failed before I started making it. And now it's 2:50 or 3:30 on a Friday afternoon, and I'm just doing whatever I want. Like, you learn from those failures. Hopefully you learn from those.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes like, okay, well, that didn't work. no big deal. Move on.
Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like you get a taste for it, and yeah, that resilience brings confidence.
Yeah. You just gotta have the tough skin, man.
Mhm.
Because like if you get into this, entrepreneurship game,
You earn the tough skin, is what I would say.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Because I think it's been, so glamorized in society.
Mhm.
Like everybody wants to be a business owner, entrepreneur nowadays. But like, going back to mindset, like you have to have that mindset. You have to have that dog in you in order to be able to do that,
Yeah.
man. Because like there's gonna be some stuff you're gonna go through. There's gonna be a whole lot of pain, but within that, you don't have to suffer it. You
Mhm.
don't have to suffer like that. The suffering is optional. That's something that we typically put onto ourselves. But just setting yourself up, strategically, that's why I have a ton of different, technical assistants, whether it's business coaches, accountants, any, marketers, whatever the case may be, people, because we can do anything we want, but we can't do everything. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong is they trying to do it all.
Oh man,
you got to pick a lane and become a master. That
Yep.
Mamba mentality.
Yep, that's beautiful. Yeah, I've fallen into that trap way too many times.
Yep,
and it's tough. Yeah. So let's say somebody is, they're 250 pounds just out of a breakup. What are you going to tell them to do? What's the first step?
Yeah. So, man, I always say it's always a lot better to be able to go to a subject matter expert, because then that's one less thing that you have to be able to worry about. Ultimately in that situation, you already are going through a lot. So all you have to do there is show up.
Mhm.
Show up, and showing up is literally about 90% of the battle there. Because once you're there, you're gonna get what you need to get done.
For sure.
But
Especially with coach.
especially with the coach, but find you a good, well-rounded coach, somebody that can add value to you in multiple areas. Like if I was in that position, I wouldn't just go to, somebody that was one-dimensional, that's just going to take me through workouts and stuff like that. I would go to somebody that can take me through a workout, help me with my mindset, serve as like a mentor, somebody that can take me through a whole transformation and isn't like that I can work with for like at least a year.
Right.
Because the more long term that you do something like that, the more it's going to be able to benefit you. I tell people all the time, like if your plan is to come to Omni and work out and train with us for like a month, then this probably isn't a place for you,
Right.
because we're trying to transform people's
Right.
life, in all aspects, mind, body, and spirit.
So what's next for Omni?
Man, so we got a ton of stuff going on. Honestly, we're right now we're kind of in a phase where we're trying to expand the business model. So ultimately, what I would like to have is this one-stop shop, and be able to have this facility that we own, that everybody can come to, and we have every single modality you need. We got your physical fitness. Got your massage therapy. Well, we got the, let's just say, recovery aspect. We got your, you can take classes, stuff like that, which we're in the process of like creating courses and stuff like that for personal development, leadership development.
Awesome. Love that.
And really just continuing on the education. I think education is going to be our biggest thing in terms of scaling the business, just because, like I said, a lot of people just don't know. And, our goal is to ultimately expand and be able to do the different things that we do, such as our podcast, such as the personal training, different panels and collaborations, just be able to maximize the value that we're able to bring to the world, not just Indiana. Like we want to go nationwide with this thing.
Amen. Well, I mean, you're off to a great start. Yeah. It's I think we started off by saying like you went from overweight to training to just posting to training to a gym to a bigger gym. Now you got an amazing community. It's one of the best communities that I see in our larger community. Yeah. I'm happy for all your success, and I wish you nothing but the best.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Ryan Coleman, ladies and gentlemen. Where can we find you? Instagram.
Yeah, so I would say just go to my personal page at rycole_fit, as that will literally take you to just about everything that I have going on, whether it's OmniFit, our page in there, Unapologetically Mindful, the podcast, which is a branch off of Omni Fitness. But literally every single thing you need, take you to my link tree, our website, all that good stuff. And, you know, I like I tell everybody, like I definitely recommend, you know, hey, come check us out. First one on me. You know, I tell people once you come in through the doors and experience it, you'll see why Omni Fitness is essentially in a lane of its own. And we absolutely don't see competition because, you know, we feel like everybody has their own niche. And, you know, ultimately everybody is trying to do something in their own way, but it just so happens to be the way that we're doing what we're doing. You know, I don't know anybody else is doing it. And I say that as humbly as possible.
Yeah. Like I said, you guys are doing a great job. There's 2 million people in greater Indianapolis. So, you know, we got plenty of people to help, plenty of people to serve.
100%.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Yes, sir.
Take it easy. Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, man.